The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of ParaX, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
Step outside of your comfort zone. See the world with a whole new perspective. Join us and experience the unexplained on the Paranormal View.
Welcome everybody right here to the Paranormal View on the ParaX Radio Network. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight, those in the chat room and those listening from around the world. We appreciate each one of you. Tonight we got a great show lined up, and sorry that we're just a few minutes late getting on, but Sintova didn't want to exactly cooperate right, which happens from time to time. Anyway, we're here now. We got a great show lined up. And without waiting anymore, we have with us Barbara Duncan.
Hello, everyone.
And we have Jeffrey Gould. Maybe. Jeff must not be back on.
No, it would help if I unmute my mic. Hello.
All right. And Jeff, why don't you go ahead and introduce our guest for tonight?
Yes, well, our returning guest is a longtime friend of the show, TinaMarie Ronan, paranormal investigator, a full-on S.L.I Reiki Master, lecturer, and metaphysics teacher. Tina is a member of and one-time director of the Michiana Chapter of the Indiana Ghost Tracker. So welcome back, TinaMarie, as you're doing a slide puzzle or something, or somebody's doing something.
Not quite sure what that is, but that's okay. Hello, everyone. How are you? You know, Jeff, you can add on there now that I'm also the host of my own show on ParaX now.
Oh, cool. What is its name?
My show is called Illuminating the Paranormal, and I am on Tuesday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
Cool.
All right. We haven't had you on for a while just because you do your own show, so you're usually fairly well booked up and busy. Doing the show is not the only things that you do, though. You are a medium and you are a paranormal investigator. You also are a tarot reader.
I have done tarot, but it's not something I do on a regular basis.
But you do readings, so...
I once in a great while. It's not my big thing to do. But yes, I can. I mostly use my gifts to speak to those who have passed over.
Talking with the dead, which is some of the things we're going to be doing tonight. Or talking about, I should say.
I don't plan to do any readings or bring up anybody. I don't have anybody here popping in saying, hey, so-and-so is in the chat room, is my niece, nephew, aunt, uncle. Yeah, there's no one here, but no, I do. And that's why I did the ghost hunting for so many years and still do. I've been a paranormal investigator for over 17 years now. And I kind of more or less have to say that I'm more of a liaison for those that have passed over, the dead for the living, and the other way around.
So, which came first of all that you do?
What came first? I guess being a medium and being psychic, I'm a third generation, and that was something that I had even as a child. Of course, back in the 60s, because, people, I'm that old. It was always, shh, quiet, don't tell anybody. My grandmother was known as the weird one in the neighborhood that you would call when you can't find that piece of jewelry or that key that you're missing. My mom wanted nothing to do with it, but I knew that she also had gifts, because when I saw spirit, she would see them too and then turn her head away and pretend like she didn't. So, yes, third generation, so I did that first. I started off doing that without knowing that it was different. I didn't realize other people didn't see them too. It wasn't until I was older and they started telling me, shh, quiet, don't tell anybody.
Do you think that taboo is kind of like gone away somewhat now? I mean, people doesn't want to try and shove it under the rug so much, do they?
No, I think with the exception of a few churches, I haven't really run into anybody that has a problem with it. They all seem to celebrate it nowadays. It seems to be something that is more out in the open. I think there are more and more people who are embracing their gifts instead of hiding them away, and I think that's part of why it's more accepting. You know, the ghost shows that started back in the early 2000s, they just made it so much more mainstream to have somebody who has gift and to, use that for people, use that for spirits, use that for people who are still alive that want to get in contact with those that have passed. So, yeah.
Do you ever have a spirit come to you with a message for you to tell somebody?
Oh yeah. I had one that was a lady that a much older lady. I'd say she was probably in her mid-80s, and she had passed away while she was away from home. Because of that, she didn't feel as though she was able to say something to her sister. She wanted to tell her sister one more thing, and it took me almost a week to figure out what this woman was trying to say. Sometimes I can hear them clear as a bell. Other times it sounds like they're speaking with saran wrap over their lips. It's very hard to pick out what they're saying. Sometimes I get pictures, and I got to put the pictures together like a puzzle to figure out, again, what it is that they're trying to tell me. So that makes it a little bit hard, but this woman stuck around for a week till I figured out who she was, what she wanted to say, and after finding out that her sister was a Mennonite pastor's wife, I kind of fibbed and told the spirit that I would tell her sister everything, that it's okay, please cross, it's okay, go. And she left, and to this day I do have the woman's name, but I have not. Maybe if I just send an anonymous letter, but I don't know how that would be received. So, but I do still have that information. But yeah, sometimes they stick around for a little bit. Other times they're in and out. So, oh yeah.
Well, do you feel that once they've gone on, that they can still come back and communicate?
I do. One of the things that I have been able to get out of the spirits from the other side is there are those who pass away and do not cross over, and they stay here for whatever their reason. They stay here. There are those who pass over after a little while, like maybe they wanted to stay because their first granddaughter was about to be born, so they're going to stay until she's born, and then they cross over. Then there are those who cross over immediately, but those who cross over, they are gone for a little bit of time, but then they come back. Not all of them. Those who wish to do, but I have found there are those who ascend to a certain point, and then this lifetime no longer holds anything for them. So there's no reason for them to come back, so they do not. So I have not been able to have any, I don't pull them to me, I just whoever pops up, whoever shows up, so yeah. I did have one, a boy who committed suicide, and he was here for probably about 3 weeks. I think he was the longest, and I could not get out of him anything other than he kept showing me that he had committed suicide. He was very sorry that he had done so, and he did want to get a message to somebody, but every time I asked, he just kind of turned his head away and he disappeared. After about 3 weeks, I'm reading the newspaper, only because my kids had brought home a paper note talking about someone who was coming to the local high school to speak about teens and suicide. And I just happened to have the paper there. I looked it up. Yep, there it is. There's the times this gentleman's going to be there. All of a sudden, that boy pops in, and he goes, "That's Dad." I was like, "Oh, now I get it." He didn't say anything because I wouldn't have been able to connect it. It would have been forever for me to figure it out. And then I was able to connect. Now, I did not go to the show. Unfortunately, it was sold out. But I did send the gentleman a message through Facebook. He's never responded back, but it did show that he did get the message. So that one was nice. And that boy was the very first one that I ever saw kind of go into the light. Now, I don't open the light. That's not something I do. But I kept praying and asking for help. And all of a sudden, there was this unbelievable amount of peace, love, and contentment. And there was a light. It didn't get very, very big for me to see. I don't know how big it was for the boy, but I did see him kind of walking towards the light, and then he was just gone. And then I've never seen him since. So that one was kind of cool.
Wow.
That one was very cool. Yeah. So.
Well, you got the unsolicited messages.
You mean like ones that just suddenly pop in?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now, when I first really started to do this, now I knew I had gift as a child, but, as a teenager, you don't want anything to do with it. Most teenagers don't. They feel it's embarrassing, or it's just one more thing on their mind with all the other teenage angst. And you kind of set it aside. It wasn't until I was in my 30s that the gift started to come back. I sought somebody out, and she helped me learn more and more about my gift. But I also learned that as it was coming back, that so did spirits started popping up, showing up all hours of the night. And my teacher said, "Tell them to stop." She said, "Set parameters, set guidelines. Tell them, I'm alive. I need to sleep. You need to stay out of my bedroom." I also asked my guides and any angels or anybody around me that was helping to kind of like stand at the bedroom door, stand at the bedroom and kind of keep them out. Only twice since then have two come in, and I think it was because they felt that they were somebody that needed me. I was dead asleep. It must have been about 2 a.m. when I am woken up by this unholy woman's scream, and I open my eyes, and there's this woman floating face down right at me, screaming, and I'm like, what? I was freaked out because, you wake up and there's just somebody screaming in your face. She was screaming because she had died. She knows that she had passed. She knows she was dead. She was in a car accident. She saw it happening. She was like bumped out of her body, and she could not find her baby. She's screaming, "Where's my baby? Where's my baby? I can't find my baby." And it took me a good 5-10 minutes to get her settled down so she would actually listen to me. And I said, "If your baby is not there with you, then that's good. That means your baby lived. Was your baby in a car seat? Yes. Was your baby in the back seat? Yes." I said, "Then your baby is more than likely still alive." I said, "Just relax, settle down, see if you can get yourself to go back to the scene. I bet your baby is still there. I bet your baby is alive. Your baby has probably made it. That's why you can't find your baby. It's okay." She kind of just melted away, went away. I haven't seen her since, but that was a scary one. There was only one other one that they have let in, and I'm going to try not to cry over this one. My mom just passed away in March, and we had always promised one another, whoever passed first, we would come to one another. And my mom passed just like 2 minutes after midnight. And right around 12:28, Mom came in, and my brother had called, and he said, Mom's gone. I said, okay. All right. We'd been back and forth. Mom had Alzheimer's, and it was getting worse as time went on. We had seen her at Thanksgiving. Tim and I, my husband, we got to see her basically on the last day that she was still mentally and emotionally still with us. After that, she was gone. When my brother called, she had passed. I waited, she didn't come, so I was just starting to lay back down when all of a sudden, again, that unbelievable amount of peace and love, and this love was familiar. I knew it was my mom. I just knew it. I sat up in bed, and there she was. She sat down on the bed with me. I put my arms around her, and I was surprised because I really thought my arm would just go through her, but I was actually able to hold her, and she held me, and we talked for a few minutes, and I got to say goodbye to my mom. So that was a gift. I feel like the universe really gave me a gift there.
It sounds like it. I could believe that.
Yep. So, okay, I took my drink of water. I'm going to be better.
Well, let's go back for a minute to these people that come to you and say, you need to get a message to so-and-so, and, that's kind of unsolicited from the living point of view. And how do you walk up to somebody and say, oh, your great aunt wants me to tell you something?
Yeah, that's just it. I actually have a notebook with as much information as I could get from each spirit that has asked me. There have been a few that I was able to give, to speak to. Others, I have never, either have not been able to find them. I didn't feel it was appropriate to contact, like the Mennonite pastor's wife. One that was, actually there was a couple where it were friends, where it was family members who passed. And that is really hard. One was a very good friend. I ghost hunted with this gentleman for years, and his son committed suicide just out of the blue, and he was the one who found him. And I did go to the funeral, which was, for me, really bad. He was all over the place. He was very, very, he was just all over the place. He just kept, like, jumping between groups of people at his funeral, going, I'm sorry. And then he'd jump back to me and go, hey, tell them this. I'm like, no, I am not telling them that. Not here. I got to the point that I just went around to the alcove and sat back there, and the dad actually tracked me down. He goes, he's here, isn't he? I said, yeah, he's here. He goes, what's he saying? I said, not now, Ken. I'm not talking to you now. Not right now. I can't do it. Not now. And I finally said to the son, after everybody was sat down and that funeral had started, I said, why did you do this? He goes, it was something I had to do. I had to wake them up. So what do you mean? He goes, I had to wake them up. And he showed me a picture that he had actually attempted suicide 3 years earlier and was almost did it. But he was able to, they brought him back. And since that time, his family was on tiptoes, like they were just waiting for the other shoe to drop. His older brother didn't go off to college. His dad got a promotion, but they didn't move away to it. Mom left all her jobs, was really having a lot of trouble. It was like he knew that if he didn't do something to break the cycle, that they were going to continue this way. And to him, that's what justified committing suicide. He was also having lots of other problems, and there were some mental issues. But the hardest part was a week after the funeral, both the husband and the wife just begging me, please come talk to us, please. And having to go and talk to them and tell them that. It was awful. It was awful for me. It was awful for them. But they accepted it. And they actually were very accepting of what he said. They did visit other psychics, other mediums. And a couple months later, my friend Ken came back. He goes, my wife has drugged me to other psychics, other mediums we've gone to, all kinds of different fairs where we would talk to people and they would, trying to get a message. He goes, you're the only one that we feel has ever told us the truth. I said, well, I'm happy and, a little sad that that's what you have. So yeah, that one was really, really hard to do. Another one was some good friends that my friend Kelly had found somebody, and she was another woman, and she was very upset that she upset at first that she thought her mother would not accept the love of her life, and she always felt her mother was just pretending to just accept her, just to, make peace. But when her mother died, and I did go to the funeral, I wasn't there very long, her mother was literally had her arms around both girls, and she looked up at me and she said, you tell my daughter that I love her and the love of her life. I love you guys both. They're both my daughters, and I accept them for who they are, and I accept their lifestyle, and I love them both. There was no shame here. I said, okay. After the funeral, Kelly did contact me, and I said, not yet. Let's give it a little bit. She was really very raw about everything, and about 6 months down the road, we met for dinner, and I did get to pass the message on. Of course, tears for everybody. In a restaurant, the waitress came back 3 times so she could finally take our order, because she waited for us to all settle down. But so sometimes it's a good message, sometimes it's a hard message. But yeah, it's not always easy. So yeah.
Now, like the girl who had died in the accident, if you didn't know where to start with, how did they know to find you?
I don't know. Sometimes they say, we saw the light. I've heard many spirits say that. I've heard other people say that. And what that usually is for those who have gift and use it more or less on a regular basis, I guess for those who pass, their world gets a little bit dimmer, a little bit darker, grayer, but then they see people who have gift. We're sort of lit up around us. So some of them say, I saw your light. We were going over your house. There was light. So for what, or they're just drawn. I can't always give you an explanation, but I see the light, or I saw the light is one of the things I hear the most. So don't know. So just out of the blue.
Like neon sign saying psychic here.
Yeah, like we're a lighthouse, and the moths come. I don't know, but they see the light is what I hear a lot. So yeah.
I assume that there's probably a lot of people that has that type of ability, yet they haven't even opened it up themselves, and they probably don't realize what they do have.
I am one of the people that are in the camp that I believe that everybody has gift. I really do. It's whether or not you use it, believe in it, practice with it. There are many who have gift and say, well, I try, but nothing happens. It's not just try 5 minutes at one ghost hunting event. It's all the time. You've got to practice all the time. There are times I have it shut off for a couple of weeks to a couple of months, but not all the way. I've had surgery. There are times when, like my brother passed, where you kind of get offline. You cannot connect. It's like the universe says, okay, they've got enough pain right now. This is not something that they need to be doing. And in a sense, you're put offline. You cannot really connect. I feel like I'm blind, deaf, and dumb when that happens. For me, it's awful. But it's also a time when you are mentally, emotionally, you're healing. When the time is right. Now, I have gone to my Reiki Master, and she has done a reattunement. That has helped. I've also done that with other people, other Reiki people. For other people that have had that happen, where they were just starting to use their gift and something happened, a major surgery, a death, something big, where they just no longer feel like they can do it. They can no longer get in touch. I give them some pointers, but if they're really struggling, you can, as a Reiki Master, do some attunement to help. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I will, can you give me just 1 second? I wanted to just very quickly, I had a friend that passed away yesterday, Hannah Watson Reno. She was a huge person that dealt with Ashmore Estates on a constant basis, was so helpful with so many people, and she just passed away yesterday in an unfortunate car accident. And just want to say, Hannah, we love you. Fly with the angels, dear. So, okay, thank you.
Very good. I don't, even if I had something like that, I never wanted to try and work with anything. I don't mind going, doing investigations, using my recorder, and catching stuff that way. I have never, well, the only thing that I seen was the cigarettes lighting up, stuff like that.
At Gettysburg, yeah.
Yeah, but I haven't. I mean, I can be in a room like when we was at that hotel, and you were saying that there was a servant that was there.
Yeah, the lady in the corner, yeah.
And I'm sitting there looking. I said, I don't see anything. I don't hear anything. and you guys are saying what she's saying and talking about. Yeah, I'm not saying that's not real. I mean, but I don't hear anything. That's why when I'm with you guys, I listen to what you guys say.
Yeah. Well, I felt justified because there were like 3 or 4 other people in the room, and they all saw her just like I did.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We could all describe what this woman was wearing, what she was saying, how she was acting, and quite a few of us saw the gentleman or whatever was running back and forth from the hallway over to the gentleman that was sitting in the corner in the chair, because if you sat really still and out of the corner of your eye, we could see what looked like dark gray shadows, people running back and forth, but we couldn't see them straight out, but we could see them in the mirror, which was the weirdest thing ever.
Wow.
Yeah. It doesn't always happen. You know, sometimes there are plenty of times where spirit has come in where I feel it. It's like, you know, when you're in your house and you're further in your house and someone opens a door or window, how the air changes, or, you know, something, you just know a door's been opened. Okay? Right. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay? Same thing for me, but I know when spirits come into the room. The vibrancy, the air has changed. That's how I know. And when they start to talk to me, my ears, before I even hear them, my ears start to, like my eardrums start to vibrate. If they're yelling, it feels like I've literally have something vibrating on my ears, like I've got, you know, when like the radio's too loud and it's vibrating on your eardrums. Yeah, like that. So sometimes I can't hear them. Sometimes I can't see them. Sometimes I know they're there, but all I get are pictures, 100 different pictures, maybe the color of their hair, their leather shoe, the belt buckle, the pearl button on their shirt and the color of the shirt. 100 pictures, and I have to put them all together to see what this person looks like. It's 100 instances in their life, and I'm picking up on it, or they're sending it to me. So sometimes it comes in that way, but you get that when the more you practice, the more you open up, those things start to come to you. So,
Barbara, I know you got a ton of questions.
Yeah, okay.
Please, yes.
You know, I think we can all kind of agree that 2020 blows chunks. And I'm wondering how you think that affects people who have a gift when pretty much everybody's on edge and there's that low current of just frustration and anger and pent up energy and all of that. And how do people just sort of turn themselves off at that point because it's out there so much?
Yeah, especially if you're empathic, which means somebody who can feel emotions. I am, and I will have to say the last week of March, first 2 weeks of April were utter bleep for me. It was bad. It was really bad. I spent a lot of time in a dark bathroom with a candle and a bathtub, just, trying anything and everything to relax, meditating constantly. I don't think I slept more than 2 or 3 hours a night for 3 weeks, because just people around me in my neighborhood, just the anger, the fear, it was so overwhelming. And normally I can block, but it was just wave after wave after wave. And anybody who is in the chat room or listening, you guys know what I'm talking about. If you have a gift, you know what that's like. And especially now, it is getting better. Right now, I think it's more, the fear is kind of more or less down to just dribbles. It's more to the point of there's more disgust of the current things that are going on, and mistrust, a lot of mistrust, and anger. Anger is still way out there, but knowing what I've been going through since March and April has kind of like helped me build up to protect myself against it. It's just something you have to learn how to do, is to build up blocks against it. So, yeah, it's been rough. Definitely.
Yeah, 2020's been kind of like that, rocky.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. It is, for like a lot of people, things are easing up just a little bit, but the anger's still there.
Yeah. The anger.
And I'm wondering, do you think that people on the other side also feel that? Do they try to come back in comfort, or is this like, I'm staying the heck away from Earth right now?
I don't know if they stayed away, because I think a lot of us, in a sense, like you were saying, shut down or put up such major blocks. Nothing was coming through. The only thing I can say now, for me, I don't know how it is for others with gift, for myself, since that time, after, like I said, about mid-April, I started being able to, in a sense, to breathe and to sleep again. I know that I am about to take a major change in my life. I'm about to, I hate to say it this way, but in game way, I'm about to level up. I'm about to do some more things, do something new. Anyway, because of that, I have had spirit guides, and those on the other side are trying to talk to the point that, have you guys ever heard, I'm trying to think, like a low hum or a really high-pitched hum to the point it almost gets so loud, you're like, what the heck is that? Where you kind of put your finger in your ear and shake it like, wow, what is that? A lot of times that is your spirit guides trying to talk to you or get your attention. They have gotten progressively louder for me. Wow. And it's gotten, and right now, because I'm getting ready to do something new with my life and ability-wise, I'm getting messages right before I wake up in the morning, right before I go to sleep at night. You know, that in-between stage when you're most accepting of things. When you're like down, right before you get, just as you're starting, right before you get into dream, right there, that's when you get the most messages. And I'm starting to get messages, big time messages, and lots of pictures, so preparing me. So things are crazy for me right now.
Yeah, I think that's probably the truth for a lot of people. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So do you ever have people come to you and ask if you can try and get a message from somebody that's passed?
I have, and unless that person is right there, I can't. I know there are people who have the ability to, in a sense, call them in. That's never happened for me. For me, if they're there, they're there. If they're not, nothing I can do. And truthfully, I don't usually do readings. I don't usually do that. What I do is I also go out to paracons and I speak about the paranormal. I'm also a vendor. a lot of time I use my gift to help people find the correct rocks, crystals, stones that will help them with whatever they're going through in their life. If I am speaking to them and there's a spirit beside them that is so loud that I cannot hear the person who is living talking to me, I will pull them over to the side and say, look, I'm a psychic medium. You have a spirit with you. They really, really need to give you a message. May I give you the message that they're giving me? I've never had anybody say no, but I do it quietly off to the side. One, because it's private usually, and two, there's usually readers at these things, and I'm not there to take their job away or any financial income. I'm doing my thing being a vendor, but every once in a while when spirit is that loud, I feel as though it's my time, my turn to step up and speak with somebody. So that's really about the only time I do or give messages. So
Makes sense, yeah.
I like what we hear Nyla saying in the chat room. She's saying, we're in trouble, Henry. I don't think we are paying attention to the hum we hear.
That's true.
I like it.
It gets very loud sometimes with us. Now, I just hear the hum. I don't hear any talking or anything like that. Nothing poking and trying to tell me anything.
Right. Well, and some, yeah.
Not like the ghost is trying to say, fix that cupboard.
But a lot of times when it's that really loud hum or just high-pitched hum, it isn't even really spirit for me. It's always been spirit guides, those on the other side that kind of help us. It's like they're trying to get a message across to you, or it's a higher level up being. And let's face it, we're not, how can I say it? We're not on the same vibrancy level. So for us, it's just high-pitched or low-pitched hums, because that's all that's coming through for us. We're not at that level. Right. And as you continue and you learn and you, in a sense, hate to say it this way, level up, you start being able to hear some of those messages. They start coming through a little clearer. So, yeah. Oh, Nyla, you cracking me up. She's in there saying, oh boy, I am too bossy to listen most of the time. Oh, honey, there are times when I don't either.
I can
and
vouch.
I'm really sorry either.
I can vouch for that.
Oh, they have a way to smack you upside the head.
Oh my gosh, yes they do. It's like they say, go ahead. It's like they sit back and watch and wait to see how you're going to just totally screw this up, because they told you, don't do that. Don't. Okay. It's like they get out the popcorn and just sit back and watch.
Well, so you're pulling on a door, and finally they say, see, it says push.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that'll happen.
Now, say a baby, a newborn, not very old at all, passes. Can they come back and say things to you? I mean, can they talk then once they've passed over, or do they ever try and come back and do that?
I have never had a baby come through. I have had spirits that are very, very old that have come back that I was surprised. But I have never had a baby come through. Now, Karen and I were investigating a very tiny, small cemetery one time, and we had our SB 11 out, which, if you guys don't know what that is, it's kind of like a radio where it doesn't stay on any station. It just cycles through with the belief that spirit can come through in the white noise. So if you have an SB, like a shack, yeah, SB 7 kind of cycles through going. SB 11's. I mean, it is so fast that if you hear more than 2 words, even a full word, you've just hit 20 stations. There's no way it's coming from a radio station. It's too fast. She had her SB 11 going, and we were looking at a headstone, and it was for a 2-year-old baby. The baby was not even named. It was, I think, something, if I'm remembering correctly, the date of death was like 1873, 1872, something like that. So this was very small, very old. I'm like, wow, it's only 2 years old. And we'd noticed that they did not name it, which sometimes if a baby was born very sickly, and they knew the child was not going to live, sometimes they didn't give them names. It just said baby, We go, wow, that's 2 years old. That's really sad. And we all of a sudden started hearing something come across on the SB11 with baby talk, not me, mama, not me. And we're like, what the heck is that? The thing is that when we heard that, the creep factor went up, that like up your spine, every hair standing on our arms up, and it just didn't feel right. It felt wrong. It felt very, very wrong. So we knew this was something pretending to be a baby, pretending to be a child. They kept trying to talk to us. We kept saying, we're not talking to you. We refuse to have anything to do with you. We're not talking to you. We said, we're shutting this down. At that time, we were working with a spirit on the other side named Stephen, and he was the one who was helping us shut down from their side. We kept saying, Stephen, please shut this down. We're shutting it down on our side. And usually Stephen would say, shut, done, down, something. He would give us a message. Well, 10 minutes goes by. We're like, Stephen, is it shut down? And we got the message, trying. So whatever it was kind of fighting with him. Finally, after about 15 minutes, it did stop. But right before it stopped, there was the most I still get, now I got goosebumps on me. There was the laughter of a child that came through loud and clear. Oh. That you're like, ew, creepy. So we shut it down on our side. Stephen shut it down on his side, and we had gone somewhere else. It was probably about an hour and a half later, and we turned the SB11 on. Instantly, there was the baby laugh again. We're like, nope, shutting it off, shutting it down. You're not welcome. So we shut everything down. We didn't go back there, and we didn't turn the SB11 back on for quite some time. Huh. So, yeah.
Pretty insistent.
Yeah, it was pretty creepy altogether.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
So yeah, Henry, to your answer, I've never had a baby come through.
I just didn't know if they would be able to speak as a spirit or not.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be something to find out. I don't know.
I don't. I do know that I was in a group meeting with James Van Praagh.
Okay.
And he had a baby come through for a couple that was in the audience, and but there was no words. It was just a teddy bear and what have you. And that's what they put at his grave. So it made sense. But there wasn't any verbal exchange, nothing along those lines.
Okay.
But that would make sense. They're still probably at that one level for at least a little while.
Yeah.
You'd like to think that it's like in that movie Defending Your Life, where, you move on at some point to a different level.
Yeah.
So that you're not thinking about it anymore.
No, and I have dealt with one of the first ones that I have had that where I could not connect was I was working with somebody with a closed FBI case where they were looking for the bodies. And I was not, like this girl's spirit did not come through. Other women that this gentleman had murdered came through, but the one of the first ones that they felt that he had killed was not coming through, but I knew where her body was. I knew exactly where her body was. And they're like, well, she's not here. How is she telling you? And I said, I am actually connecting with a living person, and the information is right there. The problem is it wasn't just the fact that she had died and where he had buried her. I was seeing everything he had done to her. And that is hard. That is, because sometimes you get asked to find missing people. Like I said, I got asked to help out on this FBI case. And the thing is those things stick with you. Sometimes you don't just talk to the spirit. Sometimes you have to, with them, relive or see what happened, or they want you to understand. So they show you. But this one was, I was literally seeing it, in a sense, pulling it from the murderer, who is still alive and serving a life sentence. That one was rough. That one took a couple days to, in a sense, get him totally out of my system. That was the first time I had connected with somebody living like that, and I actually got physically ill from it. So that one was not good. That was a really rough case to work with.
Yeah, let's talk about the vibes from creepy people, living people. I mean, because that is something that it's not just an empathic thing, too. It's a whole different level of communication with different people. And there's creepy people out there that you don't want to get within 100 yards of, just because of the vibe.
Oh, yeah. I have met them. When I meet these people, I don't even offer my hand up. I just pretend to smile and do my best to walk away. They literally, I mean, come on, guys. How many of you have met somebody for the first time, and the first time you go to meet them, the creep factor is there for no reason? They could be acting as though they were the nicest people in the world, but you shake their hand and you want to go wash it. You know, it's as their aura gives off an essence that just repels your own aura. You want to back away. You find yourself literally like leaning back further and further as you're talking to this person. It's protection. That's why we have that aura on the outside. You're bumping into somebody else's aura, and if it's not good, you literally feel repelled. And the things you can get off people sometimes. Yeah.
I hope that was you that was
it's
laughing.
Like that I know with Vietnam vets, and it was easy to know them because there's like this big vacuum around them.
Yeah.
And it's not evil and it's not bad. It's just empty space. It's hard to describe, but it's empty space.
It's a survival tactic.
Survival, yeah.
It's how they deal. Yep, I have met several vets where I know exactly what you're talking about, but it's a survival tactic, and it's how they live, and some live that way till the day they pass. Others sometimes are able to get past that point, but yeah. So, very much so.
All right.
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, I like what Sam said. Self-preservation. That's exactly what it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, it's about time for us to take a break, and we'll be back probably in about 5-6 minutes. I know Tina and you guys won't hear anything until I come back. So
yeah, it's fine.
Your mic will still be live, so don't say anything.
Got it.
All right, and we'll be back in a few minutes. And if anyone has questions, you can private chat them to either Ceiling Cat or myself, and we will get or Tina. She's in the chat room too, and then we will get those answered for you. So we're going to take us a quick break, and I'm going to let Jeff take us out. How does that sound?
Yep, you're listening to the Paranormal View on para-x.com with host Henry Foister, Ceiling Cat Barbara Duncan, and myself, Jeffrey Gould, with tonight's returning guest, TinaMarie Ronan. So stay tuned for more Paranormal View after the break.